Okay, my name is Sandra Manherz. I'm the Vice President of Sport Aurora. Over the last 13 years, Sport Aurora has continued to deliver quality programs, support town initiatives, and has brought millions of dollars of value to our community through revenue generation, grants, and volunteer contribution. Sport Aurora continues as a not-for-profit, inclusive organization representing 40 sporting organizations in Aurora and thousands of citizens in our community, regardless of age, gender, or ability. We have provided leadership in sport and given valued input to the town in areas of sport policy and sport facility development, and have actively contributed to town committees. Sport Aurora has also supplied the knowledge, skill, and expertise to create valuable town assets, such as the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, All Kids Can Play, and more recently, Activate Aurora. We do this because we are committed to the community we live in and care about the health and wellness of the residents within it. Our published mission is to support and develop sport and physical activity in our community, and funds that are advanced will be used to further our mission. We will continue the work we have done over the last 13 years and add expertise and value by delivering portions of the sport plan that are highly relevant to this community. We believe that the foundation of sport is being built in Aurora through these activities, and it is critical that it is done with expertise and with care. We are professionally managed, volunteer-driven, and our 2019 budget projections represent a conservative yet accurate estimate of the financial requirements to achieve our goal. We are fiscally responsible, and we are asking for only 23% of our total budget for the following programs. They are the Breakfast of Champions. This is an event that celebrates and publicizes the outstanding accomplishments of participants who achieve provincial or better champion status in our community. It motivates players, volunteers, coaches, parents, and promotes valuable sponsorship. Celebration of exemplary effort is conducive to participation rates climbing and having positive effects on entry level and recreational participation levels. Our Sport Volunteer Recognition Program. This annual event is designed to recognize and reward the sport volunteers of this community, who are the cornerstone of each sporting organization's ability to deliver high quality, effective, and economically viable programs. Lack of volunteers was perceived to be the most important threat to each sporting organization's survival, and therefore retention and recognition strategies that are targeted, promotional, and public are needed. Funding for these two events will go to the naming right, help with venue, awards, food, beverage, and project management. Our Sport Aurora School Athlete of the Year and Sport Aurora Athlete of the Year. These events acknowledge the significant and exceptional achievements and contribution to athletics and sports in our public and Catholic elementary schools and within the town of Aurora itself. These programs allow for greater profile to their sports and an increase in participation through greater awareness. Funding for these two events will help support the production of awards, recognition, and project management. Our Women in Coaching and Development Workshop is a strategy to develop a pool of qualified women and girls who will act as role models to girl participants and will expand the volunteer capacity of each of our member organizations. Because these will be multi-sport workshops, integration will be enhanced across all sport participants. Female participation is traditionally low in coaching roles, and providing opportunities for women to coach will enhance each organization. A pilot project was conducted earlier in one of our member organizations, and through a Women in Coaching program, significant increases in the number of female coaches was noted. Funding will go to cost of facilitating the workshops, the mentorship programs in both the YRDSB and the YCDSB. All Kids Can Play program. This program is designed to ensure that children who are financially disadvantaged are supported, so no child who wants to participate in sport and recreation is turned away. While Aurora is perceived to be an affluent community, the members of Sport Aurora's organizations noted that more requests for subsidies were occurring each year from parents who are financially disadvantaged. Funding will go towards an outreach campaign and support the project management of the disbursement of funds to low-income applicants that apply to the program. Our Sport Tourism Project. This project reflects Sport Aurora's ongoing commitment to strengthen Aurora's ability to attract sporting events to the town and reap economic impacts of sport tourism. The intent is to build Aurora as a sport destination. The outcomes from the Sport Tourism Committee discovered sport organizations did not need assistance in implementing their events, but needed help in promotion, communication, and assistance on the often ignored customer experience. The Sport Concierge Service was proposed and approved, and the service was and is still being implemented in the community today. Funding will go towards pre- and post-advertising of each approved sporting event, organizational components of procuring business commitments of sport, and coordinating with each organizational committee. The last program, communications, and every program marketing and strategy for public awareness or campaign is required, whether it's traditional media, social media platforms, or public relation. Every program has an element of communications, and funding for communications would support the cost incurred from advertising, pre- and post events, as well as the management of the campaign by a professional. The total funding request is $49,600, and thank you for the opportunity to delegate this evening and for your consideration. I have Rob with me here, who's our treasurer, who can also help answer some questions with regards to the finances.
Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. With respect to the All Kids Can Play program,
Yes.
where does the goal is to provide additional funding outreach to families. So how is it done at the moment?
But I believe it's going through all the schools at the moment, and that's how we're reaching out. Most of the schools are aware of the families that require that funding. And then also if the families are approaching our sporting organizations directly, there's an opportunity for them to be directed to our program as well. It's also on our website, so there's an opportunity should someone be with their internet, then they have that opportunity also.
It also says it's only for administration. So
we often get donors and sponsors that are feeding into that program, so that money entirely goes into the programming, into kids accessing sport. So what we're looking for from a funding perspective is that the program is quite cumbersome in order to manage, and that we have a lot of applications that come in, and it's a process. It's quite a sensitive process, and have to go through those applications. And so there's a process that has to be done and administered by a capable individual. And then on top of that, we'd love to see that program more widely used. And so wherever there's opportunity to increase that outreach and make it more aware into the community, we want to be able to expand that.
Councillor Gardner.
thank you. It sounds great. I'm talking about this for many years. But so the funding isn't needed to provide the outreach, it's needed to provide the money that hopefully comes in?
The money is required, so depending on how we run those outreach programs with regards to budget, some of that money may be used to outreach into the community, make the community aware of the program that's in existence, whether that's through social media, through local papers, whatever the case may be, to make it more available and in the community so people are aware the program even exists. So yes, it would be used for that particular portion, and then to administer the program. The money wouldn't be used to give to the parents, and that we actively look for sponsorship in order to be able to fund those programs.
Yes.
If I could just add, so approximately half the cost is direct cost for the program. The other half is the cost of administering the program. So we are hoping to cover all costs of the program strictly through this funding that we raise from donations and volunteers and support goes strictly into a separate fund that is used to support children.
Councillor Gardner.
So did you say half to administrate, half to give out, half of it
It's
for
about
funds?
half is direct cost to the program, and half is the cost for us to administer the program.
Oh, got it, thank you. And to Sandra, you said that there are a couple of things that add value to the community, and so I'd just like to know, in your opinion, what value does Activate Aurora provide?
Manherz.
So Activate Aurora provides quite a bit. There's a lot of programming that happens through Activate Aurora. So there's a physical literacy program that runs that actually trains our coaches as well as the school staff in order to teach kids the basics of skills in order to develop and grow. They're currently running a Swim to Survive program, which is teaching kids basically how to, they set it up so that a child falls into the water and has the ability to swim a certain distance in order to do that. There's a multitude of programs. The Exercises Medicine program works with physicians to encourage them to write prescriptions for exercise to people rather than medication, so that alongside their blood pressure medication and their cholesterol medication, they're also prescribing a certain amount of exercise. So there's a wide variety of programs that runs through Activate Aurora. Those are just a few.
I was hoping you could go through the list and identify the ones that either have changed or are new or are existing in terms of the programs that are on the screen.
Ms. Manherz.
Are there any new ones, and which ones are currently being funded?
Each of them have been running from a number of years. Laurie, I don't know if you would be better able to speak to the years. So each of the programs have been running for a number of years. I don't believe any of them have been added, let's say, in this past year. The Breakfast of Champions, for instance, is a program that's been around probably for 7 or 8 years now. Volunteer recognition, I don't have the numbers on each of the programs. 8 years. Sport Aurora School Athlete of the Year and the Athlete of the Year. Are we at 3 or 4?
Are there any new programs, and are you able to identify any change in funding from what's here and what's been given in the past?
So the Women and Girls program would be something that would be a new initiative that we started last year within the sport plan, and that would ideally continue on into the next few years.
On a budget basis, as Sandra had mentioned, the Women and Girls program is brand new for this year. Sport tourism is an ongoing program that was basically started last year as part of the sports plan, but pared down considerably until council makes the further decisions on that program. And the communication promotion of sport, again, is part of the sports plan, but much pared down to waiting for a decision on how you go forward with the sports plan in the future. The only other one that is a little bit increased is the politics are in play. We're hoping to beef up that program and get it to the kids.
Councillor Allen?
Thank you, and all the rest are the same and received funding in the past.
Yes.
Recognize that these are well-established programs that have been running many years. Myself and many members of council have been fortunate to attend some of them for sure. But in particular, the All Kids Can Play, and you know, I know you mentioned that Breakfast of Champions has been 8 years now. How long has the All Kids Can Play program been running? And
Ms. Manherz?
since day one. And I'm sure Lori could probably give us a number of how many families and kids have been able to participate in sports as a result of that program. And so I think as we go through this, it's important to understand the history of these programs behind it. I know there's a wealth of information on their website, and I encourage councillors to visit that as well, to learn about the history and how many years there's been a relationship between the town and even prior to the town, how many times they've run these programs.
Can you, I have a pretty good idea what it is, but if you could just speak to the concierge service, and besides the marketing communications of events, can you elaborate as to the other aspects of the concierge service, please?
So a great example is the Silver Stick Hockey Tournament that's coming in February, so that's a great example of that concierge program at work. So what happens is the Silver Stick Tournament has approximately 52 teams coming through. 3 of them are from US-based teams. They present a variety of teams across Ontario, and there are 5 divisions. So what happens is, generally, Sport Aurora communicates with the organization who is running that tournament. And then what happens is they get the details of that event. They will do pre and post advertising and communication. I know that's not the interest that you were looking for. And then what ends up happening is they will also provide a sport center service of sorts, where guests who arrive will be able to find out where the venues are, where to eat in Aurora, what other types of activities there are that their families can participate in order to make their stay more enjoyable. They also have a relationship with the business community, so that each of those guests that are coming in have a coupon book of sorts or for value-added items, and so that there are businesses coordinating with that tournament that are also providing opportunities for those families to come into those businesses. Sport Aurora also reaches out to those businesses specifically in order to let them know that the tournament is up and running and that it's coming in that weekend, so businesses can prepare for an influx of people that are coming in, and to be able to take advantage of the increase in guests or individuals that will be in town that weekend. So those are some of the things that happen.
Okay, Councillor Kim?
Great, thank you. And my second question is, where's the boundary between the communication and marketing costs accrued from the concierge service versus the regular communication section right below that in our agenda? I would imagine the communication cost, is that just for the general Sport Aurora?
Yeah, so and you can touch on costs if I'm missing something, but from a communications point of view, the communications campaign is designed to bring sport to the public. So the town right now doesn't have a section in their website per se that talks about sport and all of the things that happen in sport, besides with regards to rental and facilities. And so what happens is it allows us to kind of bring sport onto one page, into one website, where people can go to one place and look up everything that's happening with regards to sport. For example, that communication section will have periodic advertising with regards to the events and activities run by our members. So it might be registration and programs, it might be public relation or articles and stories like the Swim to Survive program that's running, so people are more aware of that. And then what happens is there's also a communications contractor and social media specialist who would be able to send out those regular messages, make sure that they're targeted and coordinated, and so that they're effective in letting people know what's happening from a sporting community point of view. Whereas the other bench, I'm sorry, was that in the
The concierge,
so
just specifically to...
yeah, so that's more for
concierge.
sport tourism, so that would be a big event like the Silver Stick tournament that comes in. It's specifically for sport tourism where these large organizations are coming in to use our town. The event would require a different type of communication, and it would require different coordination based on it being a large event that we have to coordinate not only with the sport organization but also with the facilities as well as the businesses, ideally a hotel at some point, that will be able to service those people. So all of that would have to be coordinated under one umbrella. So one is specifically for sport tourism and those large events, and the other is for just sport in general, to allow people to know where to go, where to find that information, how to access their own, the opportunities that are available from a sports perspective. You know, when registration is at one organization versus another, it makes it much easier to have one central place to go and to be able to click and link into wherever you need to go. And the town currently doesn't have that ability, or at least it doesn't at the moment.
Councilor Kemp?
Yeah, actually I have a third question. So when you came up with the budget for concierge service and communications, in coming to that estimate, did you consider, well, for the concierge service, we're going to have 4 sport tourism events, therefore we're going to have to communicate through this channel, that channel, and the same logic for the general communications. Did you have particular events or activities in mind when you came up to build out that estimate?
Ms. Manherz?
Yeah, we do a zero-based budget, so we start from the bottom up, and we look at all the different expenses that we anticipate, whether they be an event expense, hiring somebody to do the communications plan. We will budget, just take the number from last year, for example, and add a few percent.
Councilor Kemp?
So, but with the zero-based budgeting, you still need to kind of estimate how many activities or what events you're going to be budgeting for. So, so in the background, there is a certain number of events and activities that you've budgeted this number for.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Suggestion. There's a really good matrix that I think would be valuable to you and to us. And it's a percentage of the it's volunteer hours as a percentage of the total operations. It's a valuable matrix to get a sense of you know, not only where the money's spent, but how much volunteering, and I suspect it's huge. But it's a good number to have for us to get a better sense of the organization. It's just a suggestion.
I appreciate it.